Hey everybody, in this tutorial we're going to talk about the basics of linking and attaching. So on the screen right now we have a couple of boxes. You can see if we go to the scene manager over here we have big green, and up here we have little green. And the first thing we're going to talk about is linking, and we'll get to attaching a little bit later. So linking is normally used when you want to animate stuff, attach it and then reattach it or detach it throughout the duration of your project. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. But let's take a look at how we can link objects first. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to link little green to big green. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is just to right click on little green and go down to link and select link to and then select big green. Okay, and then if we have little green selected, you can see over here in the attributes section, if we go down here to the linkage section, you'll see it's linked to box 001, which in fact, if we go in here, is actually big green, just a node of big green. Okay, so don't worry about that for now. And then if we select big green, you can see there's no linkage, but we can move it around and little green will follow. Okay, I'll just press Control Z to undo that movement. Alright, so that's linking. If I want to unlink, it's just as easy. I can select the little green and right click, select link and unlink, and that link will go away. And now if I move big green by itself, there you go. Okay, we can also move up here and just zero out big green to bring it back to the original position and scale. Okay, let's go ahead and link it one more time. Now you can also link by selecting little green and going down here to pick parent, and you can pick big green from the viewport, or you can also pick it from the content manager, or the scene manager here rather. Okay, so we can pick big green from here, and then you'll see big green will appear right there. Now, one of the big differences between link and attach is if we select the big green, you can see little green will move along with it, just like this. If we press the E hotkey for rotate, little green will rotate right along with big green. However, if we press R for scale, little green will not scale with big green. Okay, that's something that we need to use attach for, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Okay, so let's just go ahead and zero this back out there. Okay. Another big difference is the ability to animate. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little quick animation here with big green leading the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press F3 and go into the timeline here. Let's bring that up a little bit here. And if you have object related track selected, which is this item right here, I'd highly recommend it. Any item you select, it'll bring up those tracks in the timeline. Okay, so make sure you have that selected. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to maybe frame 120 or something like that, or maybe frames to 100 to keep things simple. And we'll press the W hotkey, and we'll move big green somewhere down here. Okay, it'll add a keyframe in the transform track, and there we go. We have a movement. All right, so let's go ahead over here and select little green. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to open up a different track for little green. We're going to open up the constraint track. Okay. Now the constraint track consists of 3 subtracks. You can see look at, path, and link is the one we're looking for here. Let's close down look at and path since we're only dealing with link. Okay, so say we're halfway along the trip and little green decides, hey, I don't want to follow along anymore. What we can do is at frame 50, we can go over here and just unlink it. Okay, or just right click it from the scene manager, or the viewport rather, and go to link and select unlink. Okay. Then you'll see that, wow, okay, we no longer have the link, and big green leaves little green behind, okay, at frame 100. Okay, so what happens, maybe say, for example, big green is on his way back, and little green changes his mind and wants to go back with big green, back home with big green, okay? So we have frame 200 here. I'm just going to go ahead and press reset. Let's make sure we have big green selected first. Reset, 0, that's going to go back to the original position there. So now we have an animation like this. There goes little green. And say little green wants to get back on the track, back on top of little big green there, halfway through. We can maybe take him to about maybe 140, he's halfway there, maybe something like that. Okay, and that's due to the transition curve of the transform track. We'll talk about that in another tutorial. But let's go ahead and relink little green to big green. So I'm going to select little green there, link to big green. And you can see we reestablished the link, and it goes on for as long as that line exists. Okay, so there we go. We have that animation back and forth. All right, so let's just go back to frame 1 here. And another big difference between link and attach is if we want to save our object, what we can do is go over here to the content manager, and under props, we'll go to custom props, and we'll just go ahead and use the plus symbol here to save it. And we'll save it as piggyback. Okay, maybe we'll just call it link piggyback. Piggyback, okay? And say, for example, I wanted to save the entire hierarchy. Well, if I save it as a link and I bring it back in, only the parent item will bring in. It won't bring in any of the linked items, okay? So none of the stuff lower on in the hierarchy, like little green, will appear. Okay, we need to use attach for that, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment, okay? So let's go ahead and delete that one. And what we're going to do now is move on to attach. And for attach, we're going to make the green stuff invisible. I wanted to mention as well that when you see a parameter in iClone, like the link here that's in green text, that means you can animate it, okay? If we go down here to attach section, which we're going to talk about next, you can see attach is in white, which means you cannot animate it. It's not keyframeable, all right? Just keep that in mind. All right, on to attachments. Let's go ahead and make little green and big green invisible now, and make big white and little white visible. All right, they're kind of grayish, but we'll work with it. All right, so what we're going to do now is show the difference between attaching. So if I attach little green to big green, I can do it the same way. I can right-click, but we also have this attach function down here. We can select attach and attach it to big green or big white, and then we can press the W hotkey and move it around. If we use the E hotkey, we can rotate it around. And if you use the R hotkey, we can scale them both. And they both scale simultaneously, okay? So keep that in mind. That's one major difference between link and attach. And if we go up here and select reset 0 out, they're both going to reset back to their original positions, rotation, and scale values. And again, if you want to unlink them, you can see over here in the scene manager, we have sort of a hierarchy, and we can twirl that up to make that invisible. Okay, it's not the case with big and little green. We have that as the case with the attached objects. Okay, so you have a little hierarchy here. And if we want to detach it, again, we can right-click the little green or little white here and go to attach and just detach. Okay, and then again, if we want, we can go to attach it, pick parent. We can also pick it from the scene manager here. There we go. All right, big white. All right, big white's the parent. Okay, so let's try that animation with attach now. Okay, so these are all attached together. Let's try that same animation. Let's press F3 and go into our timeline. Close down all those tracks that we don't need. We don't need the link track, okay, because we're not linking, we're only attaching now. So if I go to frame 100 and I bring big white over here, little white will come along, okay, just like this. But if little white gets tired along the way this time, at frame 50, and little white wants to detach, I can right-click, go to attach and detach. What's going to happen is little white is going to stay there permanently at that position, okay? So once you've detached, there's no going back, okay? So just keep that in mind. One big difference between attaching and linking. Okay, let's go ahead and just maybe reset this back to a value. That's value of 0 here. It's right above. Okay, good. So we've established that the animation for attach is not keyable. Another difference is if you want to save your objects, if you have them in the hierarchy and you want to save them. So let's go ahead and reattach little white to big white here. Pick parent and select the big box there, big white. Okay, if I want to save them as a custom prop, I can go to my content manager, custom here again, and just click somewhere in the gray area here to deselect that one. And we'll save it and call it attach. Whoops, if I can spell attach properly. And then if I bring an attach piggyback right here, you'll see it'll bring in the entire hierarchy. We go to our scene manager here. There you go. We have a 0 in parentheses, of course, because we can't have two props with the same name, but same hierarchy exists and same everything. The child props and the parent props. Now, one thing that you may not be aware of is avatars, accessories are actually basically just props that are attached to an avatar. Okay, so let's delete big white with the 0 in parentheses there. And let's bring up our Curve Man avatar hidden in the scene here. All right. So if we zoom in on Curve Man, we can actually go into his hierarchy here, and we can see we have Google's new, or Goggles new. Okay. We press the W hotkey, and we can move those anywhere we want on the character. And if we go over to our attributes section, you can see they are attached to our character's head. We can go in here and attach them to other nodes on our character's body, but that gets really complicated, and we cover that in other more advanced tutorials. Okay, we'll just cancel this for now and place it at a nice place on his body there. So if we select our character, we can move him around, and of course those sunglasses or those goggles will move along with him. And we can attach other objects to our avatar as well. Say, for example, we wanted to attach Big White to our avatar. Well, we can right-click Big White, go to Attach, and attach him to our avatar. You can see it selected his waist in this case. And if we move our character, there we go. Move him around. We can use the E hotkey to rotate him. And maybe he's a character in a video game that carries along big bricks to throw at people or something. All right. But that's basically all I wanted to cover in this tutorial. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Hopefully you learned a lot. Make sure you check out our forums at forum.reallusion.com if you have any further questions. And I hope to see you in the next video.